Hey guys, what's up? MadSeason here, back with another video for you. Everyone is sort of on the edge of their seat with classic World of Warcraft, just waiting and waiting for more news and trying to figure out what they want to do. Will you raid, maybe focus on PvP instead, gold making, or just a bit of everything? Well, in this video, I wanted to talk about my plans, both in-game and out-of-game, regarding Classic, since I do get asked about it every now and then. What'll be my main, will I make a guild, PvE or PvP, and so on. Let's start with the obvious one first, and that's what class? Unfortunately, it's probably the hardest question for me right now. I seriously have been thinking about it ever since the announcement back in BlizzCon 2017, and I bounced around pretty much every single one. I'll be super locked into one class, but then I think about it a bit more, or I watch some gameplay on YouTube, and I think, maybe this one would be more fun. I think eventually I'm just gonna level everything. That'll probably take like a year, but considering that it won't get updated for expansions as far as we know, I'll have plenty of time. Right now though, my top 3 picks in no particular order are the Combat Rogue, which was my main in original vanilla, the Retribution Paladin, and either Arms or Fury Warrior. Combat Rogue is really tempting because they're so good in PvE, and they can still hold their own in PvP. I think Assassination or Subtlety was the go-to for PvP back then, but Combat still did pretty well as I remember. Plus, it's the class that I know, having played it for so long, which is definitely a nice bonus. Arms Warrior, on the other hand, is super appealing for PvP for me. I've always liked watching old PvP videos of the rank 14s just destroying people with lucky sword procs. I don't know, I just always liked the class back then. It seemed to me that the warrior was one of the easiest to learn, but also one of the hardest to truly master with stance dancing and knowing when to throw on a sword and board and whatnot. I mean, you can probably tell that I have a thing for warriors, considering I've been using their transmog ever since it was released in the Cataclysm. People ask me all the time, what's up with your weird transmog? Well, the answer is that it's the best in Slottish set for DPS warriors, for the Blackwing Lair, and early AQ40. So definitely a big contender for my first character. It's also what I played most in the official demo. Retribution is also very appealing, honestly because I watched some PvP videos. They just look like so much fun in PvP, but the only thing I'd be afraid of is finding a guild that would allow me to get the gear to get to that level. As far as I recall, there were no Retribution Paladins in raiding really, so how receptive will people be to one outrolling or outbidding warriors on DPS plate? That could be kind of iffy. So, these 3 are my top choices so far. Something fun that we can do, I guess, is to have you guys vote on what I'll play. At the end of the day, I'm gonna play what I want, but this could be fun to see what you guys are thinking. As for faction, obviously I'm thinking Alliance here since I mentioned Paladins. Come on, you guys know me. I'm Alliance at heart, and always will be. I will eventually make a Horde though, I guess, if I want to level 1 of each class. As for the question of will I make a guild, honestly, I highly doubt it. I know that's gonna disappoint a lot of people, but you guys gotta realize how much work it is to run a guild, especially during vanilla. Coordinating 40 people, probably having a website, applications, putting together events, and with the old loot system, possibly tons of drama to deal with. At the end of the day, I don't do YouTube as a job, so free time is already pretty limited. And I still plan on playing current as well, so juggling current, classic, work, 2 YouTube channels, and just my personal life in general, and managing a guild on top of that is a little too much for me. Plus, I've always been more of a follower. I'm no good at leading stuff, so I think I'll just be joining a raiding guild. I'm not sure which guild yet. I haven't really given it much thought, to be honest. If there's maybe a big raiding guild that would take me in, that might be the route to go down. I was thinking of looking for a pretty competitive one, like even trying to be a scepter bearer possibly, but again, it just comes down to the time thing, so I'm not sure. I guess we'll see how things are when it actually launches in the summer. So, as for the question of PvE or PvP, that's still up in the air if I go down that route. Just depends on what I decide to do guild-wise and what server they join. So, no guild for me, guys, sorry. I'm one to never say never. I could change my mind, but right now it's not likely. As for my endgame activities, I'm part of that crowd that wants to do a little bit of everything. I want to PvP quite a bit, although I won't be doing the rank 14 grind if that's in. I want to raid definitely, dungeons of course, some gold making. The only thing I won't be doing is RPing since I was never into that. On that note, I have a question for you. We all know about Moonguard and their Goldshire and Current, right? Well, obviously, there has to be a one for Classic as well. The question is, what server will be the lucky winner, I wonder? It's like Russian roulette, except instead of a 1/6 chance of dying, it'll be a 1/6 chance of mental trauma. As far as the YouTube channel is concerned, I have big plans of course. Over the years, I've made a ton of classic videos as you guys know, but they're mainly just for entertainment. You've heard me always say that this video is for entertainment or something along those lines. Like, I've talked about the Onyxia chain before, but now I want to make a step-by-step guide for each part of the quest. This NPC is at coordinates X, the next one is coordinates Y, here's the best way to get there, here's how to get to this dungeon, and so on. I have so many ideas floating around in my head, like leveling guides, profession leveling guides, gold making. My goal is to make the channel a video database for everything in the game, and make helpful guides that people can use if they're having trouble. Classic has a lot of things that aren't self-explanatory by any means, so I think that would be a route that I'd like to go down. Personally, if you ask me, at least for your first trek to 60, you should do it by yourself to get that unadulterated experience, but I want to at least have the option available if you run out of quests, or you're having trouble with how to spec your character, or how to tank, or whatever. The end goal of the channel has always been to either entertain or help people, and that won't change come official Classic. The real question I've been struggling with is how to release all of the videos. I definitely wanted to wait until after BlizzCon and the demo since there were still a lot of unanswered questions. There's no point in making an engineering leveling guide if it's all changed slightly with official Classic. But from their demo and their panel, I got the impression that there would be as few changes as possible. The big exceptions would be that temporary sharding and the loot sharing timer. But other than that, I think it's fair at this point to expect the rest of the game to be pretty close since they confirmed that they're using the 1.12 data. So I could start making guides right now if I wanted to. Staying more on the casual side of things still though. Like for example, I think endgame class guides might be a little early since we haven't entered an alpha or beta yet. Who knows, there might be some difference somewhere that changes your rotation slightly for whatever reason. On the other hand though, I think something like a class leveling guide is much more casual, and I don't see that being too different than what I remember from official Classic. I'd definitely be more open to making something like that, as opposed to a combat rogue rotation guide that becomes useless because the energy ticks are different with the current source code or whatever. I could also do a race picking guide. I don't imagine that the racials will change at all. I don't think that they would change the Onyxia attunement, so stuff like that I could get away with making now without too much worry. I do want to be mindful of keeping some sort of balance though. Like I said, I'm still going to be playing both current and classic, and I'm going to try my best to release videos for both. Certainly, when classic first comes out, there'll be a big imbalance towards that video-wise. Hopefully, I can even it out pretty quickly though, and cover what I want to cover. At the end of the day, my goal is to try and make everyone happy. Sorry if things get a little crazy here with classic videos, but I think in the end, the best route to go down is what I think I'd enjoy the most. It's never good if you find yourself forcing things, so I don't want to be in a situation where I'm like, ah crap, I haven't done a current video in forever. let me find something to talk about. If you do that, I think there's a big drop in quality because you'd rather be doing something else, and you don't put 110% into it like you normally would. And the other way around too. If it's true classic, obviously there'll be an eventual end of things to talk about, or at least a slowdown, at which point the tides would turn towards current. Whatever the case is, I appreciate you watching for as long as you have, no matter what side you're on. So, overall, I'm ready to go. You guys can probably tell. I've been making videos about Classic for 3 years, reminiscing and just having fun sharing some nostalgia, and it's actually becoming a thing now. Thanks for watching, as always, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Farewell for now, mortals. We hope you enjoyed today's video. See you again soon.